Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships with your host Michion. Today we'll be taking a look at the Scharnhorst, or the so-called Shiny Horse. This is a very nice ship. Now, before we begin, I'm gonna declare something right now. Wargaming has a tendency of, they just put up a Scharnhorst sale and they put up a video of the Scharnhorst and it's, very impressive. I wouldn't recommend judging a ship by the videos. It's, I've seen the video, it's just not it. It's just not how the Scharnhorst actually behaves in game. I mean, you can pull it off, but it's unlikely. And this is a review from someone who has played not that many games. I mean, I'm still a noob. I haven't even played 1,000 games yet. But the Scharnhorst, where is it? There it is. Is one of my favorite ships in the game. I have 54 battles in it, and I have one of the best stats in this ship from any of my other ships. But for now, let's focus on what the Scharnhorst is. Well, in a sense, the Scharnhorst is a fast raider ship. It was designed in the beginning it was designed on the hull of the Gneisenau. As you can see, it's essentially the Gneisenau hull A, just with 3 guns per turret and 283mm guns in each turret. Now, the Scharnhorst has a few selling points that make it special. I'm not gonna say among Battleship because we're gonna get to that later. It's a bit complicated, okay? First of all, it's surprisingly well camouflaged. 15.7 kilometer range. It has the same camouflage rating as the Gneisenau. However, if you compare it to, it's the same hull, obviously it's gonna have the same camo. But if you compare it to the Nagato, 17 kilometers. If we go to the USA, there we go, to the Colorado, you'll see the Colorado has 16.7. So compared to battleships, it's quite well hidden. It's highly maneuverable, 30 knot speed, and it will exceed that by a bit. It will get to 31.5 or so most of the time. The turning circle isn't amazing, okay? I mean, it's not bad, especially when you compare it to stuff like the Nagato, which has the turning circle is fine, but that's because the maximum speed of the Nagato is much lower. The problem with the Scharnhorst, I find mostly, is that it's very long. I mean, this is a huge ship. It's so long, and this poses problems when you try to avoid torpedoes. To counteract that, I suggest mounting the steering gears modification. The thing has a pretty decent rudder shift time anyway, but that just helps a lot to me. It also helps because the third turret, the turret at the back, has a pretty bad shooting range. You have to turn the ship around this much to be able to shoot all 3 turrets at the same target. So you really want to re-angle yourself towards your opponent very quickly. So that's enough about these uninteresting stats. Let's take a look at the Aaa Defense isn't very amazing. It's decent, but you shouldn't depend on it too much. You should still be sailing around with cruiser escort. You can definitely shoot stuff down. The Scharnhorst is pretty good at taking planes down, but you won't be able to take down a full squadron, and definitely not a full launch, that is torpedo bombers plus dive bombers. It's going to be very difficult for you to deal with them. It does have a decent AA rating, but it's not good enough to let you sail off alone. Now, the artillery is when we get interesting. The Scharnhorst, I don't think of it as a battleship, and I think that really improved the way my results in the game. The Scharnhorst isn't a battleship. It's the heaviest, biggest, most high HP cruiser out in the game, with the biggest guns in the game. That's what it is. It is a very, very bad tier 10 cruiser. Okay? Now, what does that even mean? Well, consider this. If you take a look at the Hindenburg, for example, the Hindenburg has almost the same detectability range. It has surprisingly similar, well, I mean, the armor belt isn't, obviously, but it has surprisingly similar size to the Scharnhorst. It also has 3 turrets. It also has, well, actually it has 4 turrets, but the third and fourth turrets also have to turn quite a lot to allow you to get all of them firing at the same target. This is a very bad tier 10 cruiser, but it is a tier 7 battleship. What does that mean? Well, it means you can't go toe-to-toe with most battleships unless they're lower tier than you. You will be able to absolutely wreck Fusos, Bayerns, if you're facing them, because you have a very good armor on this ship. That's another selling point for this ship. The fore-end plating isn't very good. The armor belt is, though. But this is something huge for this ship. This 350mm armor belt. Nothing penetrates this belt if you're angling it, of course. Also, it doesn't. Well, it has a citadel, obviously, but it's completely underwater. I have never been citadeled in this ship, and that's saying a lot, because even Tirpitzes get citadeled. If you take a look at the Tirpitzes, there we go. I have citadel Tirpitzes, because if you take a look, there is a tiny bit that is a little sticking out. With the Scharnhorst, there's not even that. Also, you can get plunging fire penetrations on the Tirpitz. You can't really do that on the Scharnhorst. It's just, it has too much stuff going on here. The deck is 50mm. That's quite a lot for a deck armor. And if we take down the deck, you'll see the Citadel deck is 95mm. And there's all this superstructure. I have never been citadeled on this ship. However, if you do, if you're showing your, god damn it. Ooh, I forgot the term. If you're broadside on, yes, if you're broadside onto a battleship, you can expect to take a lot of damage, especially if it's something with a big guns like a Nagato, like a New York, the U.S. and Japanese ships especially. The guns are difficult, to say the least. With most battleships, you can say it's a roll of the dice. You shoot 6 shots, 1 hits, 1 over penetrates, and 1 fails to penetrate. And it's consistently like that. Or it just fails to hit completely. With the Scharnhorst, it's very weird. For my experience, it's a flip of a coin. Either all your shots go on target, you put 9 shots in the air, 8 of them hit, 6 penetrations, 2 over penetrations, and you do 15,000 damage. Or the exact same target, exact same lead, exact same speed, everything is exactly the same, and you'll get from 9 shots 1 over penetration, and that's it. Everything else will miss. It's very, very weird with this ship. From close range, I find the ship really shines when it's close range. Close range being 8 to 12 kilometers. That's the range you really want to be putting the ship at if you're firing armor piercing and battling cruisers or lower tier battleships. When you're facing higher tier battleships, you really don't want to get that close because you can't penetrate them. And what you should be doing then is loading the high explosive. Again, this is a cruiser. Well, it's not, but I think of it as a cruiser. So I load high explosive, and the high explosive isn't bad. 20% chance to set a fire. If you hit with 6 shells, you're pretty much, well, almost guaranteed to set at least 1 fire. So if you're firing for more than 12, 14 kilometers at something that's equal or higher tier than you, battleship-wise, load high explosive. If you're firing at cruisers or battleships that are unangled and 12 to 8 kilometers from you, load AP. You will do massive damage. And you can get citadels. Because this is such a high velocity, these are such high velocity guns, you will be able to get citadels on battleships, especially US and IGN battleships. Other than that, the secondary armament is very pleasing. You get 7 double-barreled 105mm guns fire HE. Everything on the ship fires only HE. It's very good. These have a 9% chance per shell of setting a fire. These have an 8% chance per shell of setting a fire. You have these double-barreled 150mm guns. I strongly recommend putting on a secondary armament because you don't really need this, and the main battery turns very quickly compared to other battleships. Only 22.8 second 180-degree turret reverse, which is compared to the Nagato lightning fast. I mean, it's almost double as fast as the Nagato's guns. I recommend putting main armament modification, secondary battery modification, damage control modification, because these are just useless. You have a choice of putting either steering gears or damage control system modification. I prefer the steering gears, but it's the damage control system can definitely be useful for you. As for this, I went with this. You're welcome to go with aiming system modification. That's also a very valid choice. I prefer the secondaries because they are very good, and I do like improving my secondaries. And last but not least, you do have torpedoes on this ship. Now, they're not amazing torpedoes, they're only 533mm torpedoes, and they don't have amazing shooting arcs. Here they are, and you can essentially shoot them. Oh, I'd say, if I can zoom out of it, hang on, there we go. You can shoot them out if you're pointing like this, around from here, and from, Jesus Christ, there we go, and to here. You can't even see my cursor, I'm sorry. I'll show it to you in the game. So that's enough talking. One last thing, it does have 56,000 HP. That's quite a lot compared to, well, it's actually not quite a lot compared to the Nagato and the US battleship. It's not even a lot compared to the Gneisenau, but it is sufficient. Remember, this is a big ass battle cruiser. So enough talking, let's get to the game. This is, by the way, one of my favorite ships because I never fail to have a good time in it. For some reason, every game I play, even if it's terrible defeat where we only get to kill one ship and the rest of the team dies horribly, I will still come out of that doing 80,000 damage and have a good game. Sorry. It is also a very good money-making ship. I tend to make between 300 and 500,000 credits per game in the ship. So, right now, land the fire. Not top tier game. not that much of a concern. Where the Scharnhorst is top tier, it just kicks ass, but even when it's not top tier, you can do a lot of damage to the enemy, mostly with high explosive. Again, if you're facing an angled battleship, don't even try firing at it with AP. If you're shooting at anything that's battleship, even if it isn't angled and it's more than 15 kilometers away, just fire HE, you'll do better off for yourself. And try to stick with your team. You are not a battleship. Again, you should consider this as a battle cruiser.
Hang in there. Help is on
How
the way.
would you... Hang on, I'll actually just lower the audio for a bit so you can hear me and not the voice comms. How would you fight with a cruiser? Well, you definitely wouldn't fight a battleship head on. Oh, one last thing. It does get either a spotter plane or a fighter plane. You can put the fighter plane. It doesn't last very long. It's only a minute and a half, and yes, you get a 24 kilometer firing range, but you're unlikely to hit from that range. I choose the fighter plane because it allows me to see enemies more often, and it does have a 6-minute activity time, so that's quite a lot. You can get quite good results with it if you're trying to spot things behind islands and stuff like that.
Enemy force detected.
You can of course go for the spotter plane if you do want to get a little more shooting range. But for now, first target, a perf. Unfortunately, I do have high explosive loaded for the first salvo. I was expecting to fire at cruisers, but I will load AP right now because anything that's British, you really want to fire AP at it. They just get citadeled so often, it's just a waste not to do it. This guy's making it very difficult. He's pretty much sailing in a straight line. Oh, hang on. He's gonna be behind the island. I'm putting the shots in the air anyway. You never know. Oh. Yeah. One penetration, one over penetration. When it was a very tough shot, to be fair. A Molotov. Again, everything cruiser, fire AP. Anything anything battleship from a long distance, like that Bayern, for example. Like that Bayern, just fire. Oh, son of a bitch. Considering using the fire extinguisher now, actually. No. As you can see, the perf is opening up now. And perf can set a lot of fires. So I'm not going to use the fire extinguisher yet. I am going to try and avoid running into this Amagi. Oh. Didn't quite get to avoid it. Hang on. Now the issue is you can take a lot of damage if you are sideways on to anything really, and that is a big issue in this ship. It's not like the Bismarck when you can really... Jesus. They really have a finger against them, don't they? Right. Repairability, very, very useful for this ship. Nope. I have had games, it's very often for me to get the Dreadnought achievement in this ship, because you do play it quite, you could even say cowardly. Because that's the way to play the ship. It's very good if you play it cowardly. You stay at range when you are at a disadvantage, and you go in when you have the advantage against lower tier ships or possibly low HP ships. So you do tend to survive longer. There we go. I would definitely recommend using the premium repair consumable. You definitely can afford it. There we go, fire. You definitely can afford it. With the amount of money you're making on this ship, it's very easy to... There we go. It's very easy to afford using premium consumables, and because this ship... Nope, that was not a good shot. Because this ship has a very decent reload time, only 20 seconds, it's also very good at killing destroyers, which is something that most battleships can't really claim to do. Oh, this is a bit of an issue now. The North Carolina isn't paying attention to me right now, but if he were to pay attention to me and put a shot into me, I could take a lot of damage. So you really don't want to give... There he is. He's now pointing his gun at me. So you really got to angle. You do have 350 millimeters of... No. 350 millimeters of side armor. And if you angle them, nothing, and I do mean absolutely nothing, is going to penetrate your armor. If you are angled, of course. What hit me? Oh, a Scharnhorst. The Scharnhorst, yeah. He's right. Well, another thing, if you're stationary in the Scharnhorst, you're almost sure to die. Because the thing is not... One of its big advantages is its speed. I do recommend going... There we go. I'm not sure how much damage it is to that guy, but quite a lot. Now, the North Carolina is broadside on, and I did say... Hang on. Nope. Ow, ow, ow. There you go, see? You can get good results in the armor with the armor piercing, but the issue is that's the risk you take. 2 bounces and a penetration that did no damage. The results are too varied to be consistently used by you. I find the high explosive is more reliable at longer ranges. Because, well, that's what I'm talking about. The flip of a coin is very strange. Sometimes you'll hit with most shells you fire, and sometimes you'll hit with absolutely none. And it's very difficult to say, like, why this happens. I mean, the dispersion of these guns is definitely battleship-like. This is definitely not a cruiser in terms of accuracy, but there we go. But you can definitely make it work. Oh shit, Akatsuki. Oh, he's gonna have torpedoes in the water. Hang on, that is gonna be a bit of an issue. Yeah. Right. Well, I'm gonna have to pay attention to the torpedoes he has in the water. I guarantee you has torpedoes in the water, so that might be a bit of an issue. Now, at 10 kilometers, broadside on, that Scharnhorst is gonna take a lot of damage, even though I am firing only 6 of my guns. Well, battleship accuracy, but still, even though I am firing only 6 of my guns, he will take a lot of damage if I manage to hit him, of course. 3, 2... No, he's angling now. 1. I am also not the best shot, to be completely honest. Ah, there you go. Even at this range, when the enemy is angled, you will have a very hard time of it. Oh, okay. The Akatsuki is dead now, so we can safely go around the corner here, the island, and start shooting up this Scharnhorst. However, there's a North Carolina there, 14 kilometers away, showing us a broadside. And a Bayern as well, showing us the broadside. Very, very silly of them. They should know better. They really should know better. The North Carolina especially. I mean, he's higher tier. He's going very slowly as well. Oh. Taking a lot of fire now. A lot of fire. Okay. Now the most difficult, well, not difficult, the most dangerous part is the turning. Because you do have to turn if you find yourself in a difficult situation with a lot of ships firing at you, and you can't take the pounding, and this could end badly for me. Oh no. Ow. That really, really, really hurt. As you now, I don't think I took any citadels from that. Again, it's almost impossible to get citadel, but in a Scharnhorst. But as you can see, that was a lot of penetrations. I took a lot of damage. It was my mistake. I should have timed my turn better, but I didn't. You live, you learn, and so on. I'm surprised that Scharnhorst is actually still alive. He's not. I mean, he's had most of the team shooting at him for most of the game, and he's still alive somehow. Very strange. We're not doing too badly though in this game, and as you can see, even though I am making pretty big mistakes, I'm turning while getting shot at by 3 battleships, and that's definitely a new mistake. I'm still alive. This is, I find, a very forgiving ship to beginners, as long as you don't overextend, as long as you stay with your team, and as long as you don't, you know, bind on more than you can chew. It's very easy to do that because you are so fast. It's very tempting to go forward and, you know, try to take on the entire enemy team yourself. Well, you know, and then get really angry at your team for being crap and not supporting you. Usually it's not their fault. Well, sometimes it is, but usually it's not their fault. Usually you just overextended. Oh shit, island. And even now, even though you saw I took, what was it, like half my health, if not more, of HP and damage, because of the repair party consumable, the premium repair party consumable, I am able to stay in the fight and recover a lot of HP. And I am able to put shots at that Genaiser now. And that North Carolina really wants me dead. Ow. You definitely want to give the enemy team something else to shoot at in this ship. You definitely can't take a big beating the way, let's say, a Tirpitz could. He's still firing at me. I think he is. Oh, turn. He missed. Lovely. He just didn't lead his shots well, so he's lost my gain. He is now finding himself, well, pretty much alone. Well, my shots missed. He's finding himself pretty much alone against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ships, all shooting at him. Well, as soon as they finish off that Bayern, they will be shooting at him. He's trying to turn. It's a little too late now, and that's their top tier battleship. So as you can see, even though I did do a very, very newbie mistake, and even though I did, you know, not get a single citadel, and as far as cruiser killing, I don't think I've shot a single cruiser in this game. I've only been dealing with battleships, but still managed to do okay. 51,000 damage done. Game not over yet. Will be soon though. We're gonna win on points. But that is essentially about the Scharnhorst. I would have loved to show you guys how good this thing is at obliterating destroyers and cruisers. Unfortunately, didn't get a chance to. That's what I'm talking about. Look at that. 9 shots, 7 of them hit, 5 did damage and penetrated with a high explosive, by the way. That Aaa and North Carolina are in a quite nice secondary duel. That's always fun to see, just how these secondaries open up. There we go. Again, I cannot explain it. It's either you always get almost every shot you fire hit, or none at all. And this is a victory with 58,000 damage done, no kills, few fires, 1 cap. Again, Dreadnought achievement, very common in the Scharnhorst, and I've made a profit of no, hang on. Yes, 207,000. That was actually a pretty bad game for me. As you can see, I'm pretty low on the team list. So, you know, but that is, in a sense, the Scharnhorst. Unfortunately, I couldn't show you guys how good the ship is. But again, random battles, that's the way I do it. You know how it is. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned what to do in case you're running into a Scharnhorst. Actually, I didn't talk about that, did I? If you're facing a Scharnhorst, never get within 7 or 8 kilometers of it. It will wreck you with its secondaries and its torpedoes. If it's facing you, run away from it and shoot it with high explosive. That's the way to deal with it. If it's sideways onto you and you're in a battleship, just shoot it with AP. You will wreck it. And other than that, not much to say about it. This is a very worthwhile ship. I really enjoy playing this ship. I really recommend it. It is somewhat different from any other battleship in the game, like I said. Battle cruiser, giant ass battle cruiser, but still. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to, you're welcome to like, subscribe, comment. I'll be tuning into the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.